Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Comics Companion is back again with yet another comic book review. So the last time I put a comic book review on my channel, one of my viewers left a comment asking for reviews of English comics or graphic novels. So I tried looking through my collection to see if there were any English comics or graphic novels that I could do a review of. The one that I found at the very top was this one, so I thought let's do a review of The Complete Mouse. So before we dig into the review, guys, let me give you a look of the graphic novel itself. So this is how the book looks. It's quite thick, to be honest. There's the spine. There's the back. And yeah, this is the front. Alright, so as you can see, the cover says The Complete Mouse. I mean, it's M-A-U-S, yes, but that's how it's spelled in German. It's pronounced the same way as mouse, which is spelled as M-O-U-S-E in English. You can see the author's name here, Art Spiegelman. He is also the artist of this book. Alright, let me do a size comparison of this book as well, because it's not the conventional DC or Marvel size. So I would compare it with one of the Raj Comics issues. As you can see, it's a little longer in length and also, in width. It's kind of wider than a standard size Raj Comics. So when I say standard size, I mean the size in which Raj Comics used to be published earlier. So in a nutshell, it's a graphic novel that depicts the story of Wladek Spiegelman, a Polish Jewish Holocaust survivor who experienced living in the ghettos and concentration camps during the Nazi regime. Wladek's son, Art Spiegelman, who's also the author of this book, has beautifully captured the essence of the war through his writing and through his pictures in this book. So let's dive in and try to find out a little about the story, the art, and some other aspects of the book. So I've already shown you how the book looks like. We'll go through it again. Here's the title. It says The Complete Mouse. You see here the Nazi logo, and when you look at this lettering, I mean the font and the way it's written, mouse, you see that it's kind of written with blood. I mean the color is red, and you can see there are splashes, so it feels as if it's written with blood. And then again, here you find two mice. So this is basically Wladek Spiegelman, and this is his wife, Anya Spiegelman. They are the parents of the author, Art Spiegelman. And also here's this blurb. It says winner of the Pulitzer Award. So let me tell you guys that this book is pretty recognized. It's a critically acclaimed book. I mean, it's also used abroad in school. Alright, so let's jump in. Before we do that, I would like to clear something here. I mentioned that these two are Art Spiegelman, the author's parents, and you might be wondering why is it that the author's parents are being shown as mice. So I'll clear that confusion of yours. In this book, guys, we don't see people. We see animals, and these animals have been represented as various communities of people. So for example, the Nazis has been shown as cats, the Poles have been shown as pigs, the Jewish have been shown as mouse, and the Americans have been shown as dogs. So let's talk a little bit about the story, the pictures, and the artwork and stuff. So when I open the book, you see that it's got a folded cover. Here are some blurbs, which basically are newspaper articles. Some newspapers, the Independent, the Times, Time Out, who have praised this graphic novel and its story and the characters and the writing and things like that. Here, then again, the logo, the Nazi logo with the face of a mouse in the front, and then the title, and it says A Survivor's Tale. Here another page which has the art in bold letters. You can see a little bit of gutter loss here. This book was earlier published into two parts. You see, part 1 and part 2. So part 1 was initially called A Survivor's Tale, My Father Bleeds History, and part 2, And Here My Troubles Began. So two parts, two names, they have compiled it into one book, and that's why they call it The Complete Mouse. You have the author's name here, Art Spiegelman, Penguin Books, the publisher. Okay. Here's some disclaimers, and from here the story starts. This book basically is a series of conversations that Art Spiegelman has with his dad, Vladek Spiegelman. So every now and then he would come to his dad's place, they would sit and chat over maybe a cup of coffee, or would, just relax in the rooms, and Art would capture all his experiences that he has had during the war, via video cassettes. He would do a lot of recording. He would also, try and jot down as many things that he can while his father is talking. So he writes a lot. We start with the first part of the book, which is My Father Bleeds History, which was initially the first book. And here are the contents. You see the pictures here. So then again, this is Vladek and this is Anya. Both are having a dance. Here is basically a quote by Hitler. He might have said it. It says that Jews are undoubtedly a race, but they are not human. That's pretty cruel, but that's how Hitler was as a person, I guess. All right, chapter 1. So there are chapters here. Each chapter has a name, and this is where the book starts. So, as I mentioned earlier, Art has conversations with his dad, and that's how the story pans out. There are two parallel tracks in this book. One is focused on the experiences that his father has had during the war, and the other basically is focused on, Art's relationship with his dad, Vladek. Now, they have a relationship which is not the ideal father-son relationship. It's kind of strained. And when you read the story, you'll understand what I'm trying to say. Now, when I first opened the book and I looked at the art, I thought that I'll have a tough time understanding, what's there in the pictures. I mean, understanding what's being drawn. But I was a little surprised when I had completed, I think, almost half the book. I realized that I had absolutely no trouble in kind of understanding the drawings or the art of this book. Though it's very basic, very sketchy type, but still, when you read the book and when you look at the pictures, I don't think you'll have any difficulty in understanding what the pictures are trying to show. Alright, so that was it about the graphic novel's story, the characters, and the setting. I'll talk about the pluses and minuses. Dare I say minuses? I'm talking about the most acclaimed graphic novel probably in the history of, books or graphic novels. But I did find certain things which were not up to the mark, I'll say. And this is entirely my opinion. So I'll start with the pluses first, things that are good. So it's a pretty detailed account of what all did the Jews have to go through during the World War. All the atrocities, the tortures, the pain that was inflicted on them by the Nazis. I mean, both literally and mentally. It's kind of disturbing at times, let me tell you. There are events which are graphic in nature. There are things which have been mentioned in the form of writing, and when you read those accounts, you'll find that it's hard to kind of continue reading at times. And all the hardships of people who survived the war, or even people who didn't, has been described really, really well. So that's a plus. Another thing that I found was the conversations, between Art and his dad have a certain level of humor. Now, I know that I've spoken about this, that, the author has a difficult relationship with his dad. However, their conversation involves a certain level of humor. and that basically gets generated from the way Vladek behaves. That's something we are going to discuss as we move ahead in this video. So yeah, I mean, there were a couple of times when I realized that I was having more fun reading those parts of the graphic novel wherein, Vladek and Art are having conversations, rather than those parts wherein Vladek is narrating how the war was and what are the things that he went through. How did he probably escape getting hanged or getting shot, or when there was shortage of food and these people had not much to eat. How did he manage to get food and all those kind of things? So yeah, that was probably because I feel those accounts or those events are disturbing in nature, and the other part was probably a little lighter. The characters are also very well written. I mean, I've already spoken that Vladek behaves a certain way, and it's really weird at times, but as you read the story, you understand the reason why he behaves in that manner. Art, on the other hand, is a guy who doesn't like his dad very much, and he doesn't miss an opportunity to let his dad know that he doesn't like him. So he's very straightforward in the way he talks to his dad, and he lets him know if he's not liking something. Now let's talk about the minuses. I mean, so number one is the events are kind of repetitive. Movement from one ghetto or concentration camp to another, and then coming back. Though I understand that this is how things might have happened, I can't help but think that it's kind of repetitive at times. Getting to see the same things happening again and again. And after a while, I couldn't help but feel a little bored. Another thing that I want to talk about is whenever we see Vladek in any sort of trouble, he always has a trick up his sleeve. He somehow gets out of it. There would be times he would please the capo by teaching him English, and at others he would stitch the shoes off a German soldier to make him happy and escape a punishment or even death sentence. I understand that, if he's the survivor, then he would have survived the war somehow. So I get that point. But yeah, I mean, I did find things pretty convenient at times for Vladek. It is the kind of book which can generate your curiosity in a particular subject. And in this case, it's history. So post reading this book, I did a lot of research. I read a lot of articles on the internet. I did buy a couple of books to read on the war accounts. So that is something which might happen with you as well. Yeah. So this book is pretty thick, let me tell you. It contains 296 pages. And again, the back cover has this fold to it. There's this picture of a mouse, and a little bit about the author, Art Spiegelman. And the back basically has the map of Poland, the various cities mentioned, what good things the various magazines and newspapers have to say about this book, The Complete Mouse. It's mentioned here. So yeah, that was the review of this book from my end. Let me know, how did you find this review? Post your comments. Let me know what else would you like to see on this channel. Thanks for watching. Until next time. Bye-bye.